Welcome PBJ Podcast. I'm Jackson. You know, we have a real special guest here, a family friend. He's a member of Spillage Village, fresh off his second solo album, Love Gun. He's a songwriter, producer, a groovy bassist. He's Pittsburgh-grown, and I'm really happy to have him here. His name's Benji. Welcome, man. I'm really happy you're here. Really, yeah, man, it's awesome. So, we're gonna get into a good amount of stuff, but you just came out with an album a couple weeks ago, man. So let's talk about that.
Absolutely.
Love Gun.
Yeah.
So, every musician obviously got a different creative process, and it varies album to album. But just first question, what was your creative process for making this new album?
It was fun. I wanted to be able to kind of go back. I don't want to say go back to my roots.
Yeah.
Right. But I wanted to make a project in a way I really always wanted to make it, real musicians, a group of writers, and not just necessarily handling everything on my own, and just having a real collaborative effort.
Yeah.
With all the songs, and it was nice getting my brother in on some work. So we haven't really done that often. You know what I'm saying? So it was really fun. It was very there wasn't really any pressure. And that's the great thing about just working with people. You don't just have to rely on your own brain or your own point of view with music. You can bounce off of everybody's ideas and energy in the room, and then you can just make something dope. So I was very happy to do that, and I think we did something all right.
Yeah, man. I do appreciate that. Just there's not a lot of musicians though that are really appreciative of multiple perspectives too. Sometimes people are nah, this is my own creative thing, and then hearing that it sounds like even working with your brother too, man. I love it. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It was fun. A lot of fun.
Where were you recording it?
Half of it I made in Atlanta. The other half I made in New Orleans, actually. It started in New Orleans at the school at Loyola University.
Okay.
So one of the producers on there, Rainy Antoine, he's a professor there.
Okay.
And they have this music department on the fourth floor. It's it's the craziest place I've probably ever been to. It's just a whole floor full of studios and
damn
crazy equipment. Those guys let me. So I did a songwriting camp there a couple of years ago. And that was my first time there. They had brought me down to work with their students and teach some production techniques and some songwriting stuff. And then so I hit them up and I was like, can I come back and just work? Just figure something out. And they were like, absolutely. So we did the last 3 songs on the project were the first 3 songs we did. When I went down there, that's basically the heartbeat of the project.
Yeah.
And then went through some hard drives and found some stuff to help glue everything together.
Right.
For when I was living in Atlanta, and then bam, we had a really good project.
That's nice, man. Did the soul down there in New Orleans help influence that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
New Orleans is a beautiful place.
Yeah, man.
Very beautiful place. Very nice. Very very welcoming and inviting. And there's just so much soul and character there that really I think helped brighten up the project.
That's what I'm saying, man. You're in 2 environments too. Atlanta is also obviously such a wild place, but it's also one of the only places in the world where you really see black success on every level, and you see black-owned businesses, black-owned wealth, black redistribution of wealth. That's all really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, I would ask, because it's weird that, this is my first interview with a musician, really. So do you guys ever have projects you enjoy making the most, or tracks that you enjoy making the most, or is it nah, I enjoy the whole collective process?
Yeah, no, it's I'll have my favorite sessions.
Yeah.
I think after, when you're still building out the song, after the session ends, it can kind of get boring because then it just becomes work after that. But so I have my favorite sessions or favorite days. Favorite songs, not so much, just because you just make so many different things.
Right.
But I feel especially those, I think it was 10 days in New Orleans, every day was just so different, but it was just a lot of fun.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say I have favorite songs, but I have my favorite sessions that I could always pinpoint. That was a good day. We really did some good work. Or that song was born there out of like these conversations that we were having.
Right.
So I would say like I have like my favorite sessions.
Okay, yeah. What was your brother's influence on the project that stood out from maybe what you did with Smile You're Alive, or you know?
I think just like his simplicity as a whole. Like he's a genius.
Yeah.
And so he helped me like with the sequencing of just like putting everything together in like a cohesive order to give it feeling. And then also when we worked on the song Howlin' at the Moon, like I had that song completely done already. I produced it all, I wrote it all, and I was playing it for him, and he was like, you know, let me try some stuff. I'm like, you can do whatever you want, bro. Like, please, you have full reign. And you know, he didn't do much, but he changed the drums and just added like a couple little things here, but like it did so much for the song. And that's like the best part about making music is like it's not really requiring this crazy thing or this crazy idea. It's like it could be as simple as like just move that to the left, like ever so slightly, and then the whole song has a different feel. And so like, and I again, like my own perspective is only one, you know, singular focus. So like him being able to see my complete idea and hear my complete idea, and then just be like, let's just rearrange this right here, and then we're good. He sends it back. I'm in the car. I'm like, bro, what are you on? Like how the heck do you just do that, or like you hear that? And you know, it's always fun when we do get a chance to like work on stuff together. It's always just fun, just kind of just picking his brain or just listening to like how he hears stuff. And then watching him do it. So that was a lot of fun. But he just has that like touch, you know, with everything that I'm very envious of. But you know, he's a mad scientist, man. He's so good.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I just saw that Howlin' at the Moon was on like the R&B essentials for Apple Music and stuff like that. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was cool to see.
I will say that is one of my favorite songs. I will say that.
Okay.
Back to your other question.
I love that song a lot. I liked Radio a lot. The Message.
That's a good one too.
Those were good. Yeah,
really good ones.
Yeah. Have you been watching the Olympics at all?
I have.
I thought I was thinking of you because just your jumping and stuff. At Duquesne, I was like, damn, like that's crazy. I
can't help but watch it. Like,
right. It's just like second nature.
It's second nature, and it's like, you know, now that I'm like older and I've been out of school for 10 years, it's like, you know, you get that itch, like I can still do it. You know, I could still try it out. I feel like I still got it in me. Lord knows I don't, but you know, I can. I always enjoy like how people train and what they put their bodies through to like compete at the highest level.
Yeah,
like, I will always love sports.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm very happy I got to, you know, do it at the level that I was able to take it to, you know, just D1 and winning a couple of championships and breaking records and stuff like that.
No, that's
my knees hurt because of it, but you know, I was happy to still like achieve what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah. Which makes this an easy transition to talk about the Berg, man. Like, it's crazy. We're both from the Berg. Now we're both out here. I'm not out here full time. You're out here.
Yeah.
You just got out here. But, yeah, man, just what about Pittsburgh influenced you, or just your early life in general? I mean, obviously, I know your pops. Like, we come from a religious background. I feel like I hear the church in the music, like all the time, every song. I'm like, all right, that's where it is. Like I hear a chorus, or I hear you know, a bridge, and I'm like, all right, this is what chorus is. But you know, I was just wondering if you had, you know, personal experiences or just in general, like growing up, like what was your influence? Maybe that's related to the city, or just related to your religious background, anything like that.
I mean, everything I still do now, like, has some tie back to Pittsburgh. I think overall, like, you know my family, like, it was really easy to kind of like get into music because everybody was into it. You know, my mom's a singer, my dad is a musician, my sister Jordan, you know, is an incredible singer and musician. My brother, of course. Like, and then being in the church, I played in church forever. But then, like, when I started pursuing music full time after I left school, like, Pittsburgh really makes you a grinder. You know what I mean? Like, if you really want to do something, like, of impact or of substance, because there's not a lot of like opportunities that Pittsburgh can give that will like propel you forward, all like that. There's shows, there's, I like to say that like the years that I really came up in the music scene in Pittsburgh, we made our own opportunities. Like, people my age or a little older, like, we're throwing these events, we're throwing these parties, and like, having these show opportunities where I was just able to like get in front of people, but like get in front of people who like would give me a shot essentially if I was good enough. And I really benefited from that because there was a lot of other musicians or artsy folk or just people who enjoyed music. And Pittsburgh is a very musical town. Like, we have a great jazz background, obviously.
That's what I'm saying.
History and stuff like that. So like, we know music.
That's why pisses me off even more. Like, one of my favorite musicians, Ahmad Jamal, right off the bat. I love Ahmad Jamal, George Benson, all those guys. And then you have Mac and Wiz, who are obviously a little bit more contemporary, but like, it blows my mind how we can't have. I'm not saying to the level of Atlanta or New York or LA, but like we should have some like community enrichment.
We should. It's tough though because like it's hard business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like it's such a hard grind because like you always have to keep your like why at the front.
Yeah.
Because if you want to make music to be rich, you lost. But if you want to make music, to make good art, and to reach people, then you'll always find a way, and it'll always keep working itself out. And that was always my passion. It's like I've been a musician my entire life. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't just make music to be famous or to be rich. I do love the money that can come with it, and I think it's well deserved. However, like at the end of the day, the whole point for me is to reach as many people as possible and essentially help change some lives, what I'm saying, with like my perspective. And so like when it comes to Pittsburgh, there's so much talent there. And there's not a lot of like foundational resources that can help propel it and sustain it. Like we don't have infrastructure for all of that, right? Like, and for like look at a city like Nashville that dominates country, you know what I'm saying? But they keep it there, right? And like if you want to be great at country music, you got to go to Nashville, right? If you want to be if you want to be great at rapping, you got to go to New York, or Atlanta, right?
Now
if
it's
you
the dirty South.
Make it in acting, you come out here to LA, you know what I'm saying? Because this is the Mecca, right? And so these days it's like things have changed so much where you could really do anything anywhere. But with Pittsburgh, I think there needs to be a lot more like community collaboration, but like real collaboration, and not just for like the sake of just working with people. It's like what's a goal we can have that like one bigs us up, but also like keeps our own integrity as a city, and not just trying to model ourselves after an Atlanta or New York or LA or Texas or Florida or stuff like that. Like Pittsburgh is unique in its own way, and it should be championed and celebrated. But like we
don't keep it in the city enough.
Like that, man. Yeah, we don't keep it in the city enough. But also, like, to be quite honest, if you have the opportunity to like move around, like do it. You gotta see like other places. You gotta see other communities. You gotta like talk to other people.
You need more influence,
because that's how you grow. And then you can always bring it back home. But it's like it's tough to like build something there, keep it there, and expect it to grow to the levels beyond the city. Because it's such a barrel of a city that like you almost feel trapped. You know what I'm saying? So it's very tough. But I always believe in Pittsburgh, man. Like I was able to do amazing things coming from there, in there and outside. So like there's always hope for me. That I hold for what the city can accomplish.
Do you feel like it could be in your later future that you try to bring it back to the city?
Yeah.
Because hopefully, man, because that'd be really cool.
Yeah. It's always been like a dream of mine to where like, I go and pretty much just collect all the resources that I possibly can, the knowledge I possibly can, like, and then at some point be able to build something that like is actually sustainable for the city to use for its own growth. Yeah. And stuff like that, and like be able to just help more artists realize their dreams, and like also give them access and resources to help them so they don't have to do it the way that I did it. Right. Like, yeah. It's an expensive pursuit, because especially when you're like moving around, and there's not a lot of money in music right now. You know what I'm saying? So like being able to provide any type of resources that just makes that easier, whether it's just helping you pay your bills or like giving you access to studios, quality engineers, or even if it's just educational tools and stuff like that, how to, you know, market properly, or like advertising, or like running ads, or you know, just the whole like game of building an audience, building a brand, like whatever that may be, like that's still like a priority of mine, you know, in my career, where I feel like, okay, I have something that I can help bridge, you know, ironically enough, right? Like I can help bridge things for artists back home to then realize their potential and see their dreams come to fruition. Like that's still a priority of mine in my career. Yeah. And when I'm able to do that, I'm out. You know? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Man, yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, I always process shit like that, and I'm just like, yeah. So it's happy that you're such a giving guy about just your ideas. Trying, man. I know, and then you're still making it on your own. Like that's the thing, is like it's hard. You're out here, literally, you're out here for the platform. Like, if the only way I could help is at least just by showing that like I'm still trying, I'm still caring, then like, you know, that shit's worth it. It's worth it, right? Because I may not be able to like give money, right? I may not be able to give like potential opportunity just yet, but like I think it means something, and it should mean something to people that like somebody like me is still trying their best, like, and seeing whatever works, or just trying something. Like coming out here to LA, is like was no easy thing. Like I didn't just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna move to LA. And, you know, it was like a easy, swift thing. Like it's expensive. It's wild out here, bro. Like wild, you know what I'm saying? And like I'm still, you know, staying with people who are doing me big, solid favors while I'm still trying to figure it out. So I'm very happy that like people are helping me. Yeah. So then in turn I could, you know, help in similar fashion to somebody else. Like if I get a crib and somebody needs somewhere to stay, and it's like, yeah, man, come out here and figure it out. Yeah. Like, my brother did that for me in Atlanta. My homie Gianni's doing that for me right now. Like, and it's just something that like, if I keep going, then somebody else might keep going too. Right. If I keep trying, then somebody else is going to keep trying. And if they see that, and it just helps inspire people to just like keep pushing one more day, keep pushing one more day, keep pushing one more day, or like just figuring out how they can keep things moving, then I feel like I'm doing a real service to somebody who really wants to try this out. Right. Yeah. That's awesome, bro. Try it, man. Yeah. I'll try. Yeah. And then just moving on to this, you know, your whole ordeal with Spillage Village, and you're a member now, and I mean, they're considered more of that we call collective music, so you can kind of go in and out. But how did you get there? How'd that come to COVID? So I was on tour with Earth Gang in 2019. I was opening for them, and then we finished up. A couple months later, they were starting to work on that Spillage album. Yeah. And so I got the invite to come down to just help work out. It wasn't even a thought about like joining the group. Yeah. And I'm thinking like I'm just gonna go for like a weekend or a week and then go back to Pittsburgh. Yeah. And then COVID shut everything down as soon as I got there, so I was just stuck. So you got there like March 2020 or March 2020, like that week that everything just my birthday, March 16th. Damn, yeah. Because they shut everything down on the 17th. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I guess I'm not going home. You know. And then it lasted like 2-3 months of the whole lockdown and stuff. But that's how we were working on that album in that house. Yeah. Just every day. I mean, after we took some time because we didn't know what the heck was going on. Yeah. But that's how that pretty much ended up working out for me, was being stuck in the house with all of them during COVID. And then, we were just all working on that album together every day we could. And it just worked out to where, I got some good placements and a couple features. Yeah. And then at the end of it, like, I remember seeing a tweet. I was like, Avatar Benji's the newest member of Spillage Village, and I was like eating breakfast or something. And so I'm just scrolling, I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Oh, word. And then I got added to the group chat, and then I'm like seeing the album cover, and I'm like, oh, that's my face. Oh, I'm really in the group.
Shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that just like, that propelled me so crazy in my career. That's a major release. Think about it. Jid, Earth Gang.
You just think about Dreamville, man. Like, that's just
huge.
Yeah.
We got a big push from Dreamville. We got a push from Interscope. Like,
for real.
Thrusted me into, a national spotlight. With press, we were in Rolling Stone. We were in Double XL. Like,
yep.
Complex. We did a Tiny Desk. I was on Tiny
That's
Desk.
what I was about to ask you about.
Bro,
like, how was that experience? Like,
fun. It was so fun. Just crazy to me because, like, now granted, we did one, but it was like the at-home ones.
Yeah, because of COVID. Right.
But it was still crazy that, like, I was on it playing, and then I got to rap one of my verses.
Yeah, I was about to say,
And I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Right,
you know what I mean? But it's just one of those dreams, again, just like making myself available. Because I'll be honest with you, I did not want to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting an invite. And I'm telling my homie Slim, who's my DJ, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm nervous. I don't know them. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how many. At the time, like, we didn't really know what was happening with COVID. I'm like, I don't really want to compete with whoever's going to be, like, there also helping out.
Right.
That'd have been hilarious if I didn't go.
That'd have been crazy now, man.
Crazy.
Fuck.
And just thinking back on it now, it's just like, it did so much for my career in that span of time where, like, it put me in a position to be, like, to be seen, and to be next to these incredible artists who I looked up to, and my brother was working with for years.
Yeah.
And I saw their come ups. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just dope to be like considered a part of that, and like now those are peers and colleagues and friends. And,
off an experience, you're like, man, I don't even want to go.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I kid you not. Like, ask any of them, my roommates or my brother. Like, I was not about to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're just like, well, you have to.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, dude.
I'm glad I did too. It was insane just to like be able to do that. And then it leads to the Tiny Desk. Led to me playing on Jimmy Fallon with Earth Gang, and then touring with them as a musician. Like, just led to so many things that I didn't know how.
It's fucking nuts.
It's nuts, bro. And I'm just checking things off of my bucket list that I've always wanted to do as a kid. Like, tour as a musician, get on Tiny Desk, touring an arena. When we opened up for Gorillaz, we did a whole arena tour, and I'm like, yeah, this is incredible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And just like
surreal.
to be able to experience that the way that I did, which keeps fueling me now to like, okay, I want to see that stuff again.
Yeah.
But I want to do it for myself now. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that has helped me and led me to this moment to really like try and crack that code now.
Yeah. Was there any good quarantine moments that you were like, just between y'all and the group, where it was like the gel moments maybe?
Yeah, we played a lot of 2K. Me, Jid, Dylan, and my brother, like we were playing 2K a lot. We watched, because Michael Jordan's The Last Dance came out at the same time, so we were watching that. We played a lot of Monopoly too. So it was just a lot of these like, family type moments that we were just having. Like, we wake up, everybody's cooking breakfast, we'll go out, smoke a little bit, and then we'll all go downstairs and work right together and take a break. We'll hoop, hoop in the driveway, just to get some exercise in. Like, we were doing workouts on Instagram Live like every Saturday.
I feel like I saw some of those.
It was fun.
Because then TikTok was starting to come, and then I think you may have got it was on Instagram. Yeah. You'd be posting your workouts on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it was tight, man.
Yeah.
Just a lot of like, just doing everything together, for 2.5 months, 3 months.
Right.
And then, and I felt good because I was like, I was losing weight. I had kind of blew up a little bit. I was eating a little too much, man. But it was just fun, and like that's what helped me settle down. Because I'm like, these are incredible artists too. These are humans,
Yeah, exactly. Humanizes all of them.
All of them,
right?
And it's like this is a great way for me to like, get comfortable around them to work, but I'm also just like meeting them and seeing them for who they are. And it helps me feel good about myself too, because it's like, you do belong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't like so far-fetched that like you're out of your league. Like, you belong here.
Yeah.
And so take that and use that to fuel yourself to work as hard as you possibly can.
And hopefully that helps with other artists too. Just now that you get to meet new people. Like I saw you did Casey Musgraves.
Yeah.
You did the bass on Lonely Millionaire, right?
Yeah. She sampled us from Cody Blue 31.
Right.
On Jid's record, so we got credits for that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was amazing. I'm just like, that's what stuff like that can lead to.
Right.
And I remember working on Jid's album like for 3 years basically, or 2 years. Like from once we got out of quarantine, we started immediately. Then he invited me down to Raleigh, North Carolina, to work on it, and just like all the in between stuff and like. Just being around that and just seizing any opportunity I could to just like try and get some work in and just see what I could do. And then that leads to like bigger things like Casey Musgraves.
Yeah.
Like, when they hear and are inspired, or whoever he's working with, like is inspired by stuff that we did, together to make their own records. And it's like, this is what stuff like that can lead to. We would just shoot a shot.
Yeah, man. How do you feel that, or what do you feel like Dreamville, I mean, like, what's your relationship, I guess, with, like, just, I mean, you talk about, Earth Gang and shit like that, but, like, just higher up, like, have you been to North Carolina, like, to, like, talk to those guys up there, like,
I mean,
or even, like, Cole and shit, like.
Yeah, like, so I'm, like, basically just, like, affiliated with Dreamville artists.
Yeah.
Between Jid and Earth Gang, but, like, I met Eve working on Jid's album, in North Carolina. I met Cole once, but like I've met Boss. Like Boss is cool.
Yeah, Boss is dope.
You know what I mean? So like even when we went to Dreamville Fest, like no one really like felt like a stranger.
Yeah.
To me, it was really really cool to just like be around a camp like that. But I think they've done a great job with just letting the talent be themselves. And figure it out and just like do what they do best, and it's just really inspiring to see like how possible things are.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and just like I watched Jid and my brother work together like on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
and how that's grown to tours and albums and all this stuff like. My brother was working on those beats and stuff in our basement of our house. And I'm like, yeah, that's dope. I want to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I'm still focusing on, at that time, I'm focusing on track.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to like, train and because I thought, realistically, I did think like I was going to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Like, with track and field. I had those thoughts and visions and I wanted to do that. And I got hurt, but like, watching my brother do that with everybody, really inspired me to really try my hand at it. But then seeing how he's helped grow all of that,
right,
to where it's become for them, is incredible. So it's just always been a great inspiration to just see that firsthand,
right,
and be around it, and soak up as much game as I possibly can to just try and do it myself.
Yeah. Moving back to, I was just thinking about the Casey Musgrave stuff, like. It's kind of weird. Rap is in like such a weird spot right now, or like rap and just the entire. I think of rap, soul, R&B. Like R&B and soul is a little bit more alive than rap right now, but like country is like the shit that's booming right now. Like everybody's talking about it. I mean, I feel like every concert in Pittsburgh, at least when I'm back there, or like in Philly, like all the arena concerts are just country. Like every single one, nuts. And like. You now just getting credit for that Casey Musgraves thing, like, what are you thinking about are you thinking about maybe potentially riding the wave a little bit with country, or are you just like, nah, I'm gonna stay with my own thing? No. I mean, just because it's like, it's hit right now.
Yeah.
So
like, I don't think I necessarily need to like, kind of like ride that wave. Like, I make music I enjoy, and I enjoy country too.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like jump into country for doing that, but like
I mean just like a couple projects where you're like, I could dabble in and just like
because that's the beauty of R&B.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And soul and stuff like that, and all music is interconnected, in that same capacity. So like, in the way I would do it, you you would hear kind of hints of country, blends of R&B and soul and funk and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, I don't think I would do like a outright country record, but I would absolutely take bits and pieces of country influences and throw it in. But that's one of my favorite things to do, really, with all my music. Is just like, it doesn't have to be just straight R&B or straight rap per se.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there's elements of gospel, right?
Yeah,
there's elements of funk. There's elements of country. There's elements of rock. There's elements of, whatever.
Just throw a bunch of dabbles in there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it all works. So, like, pretty much anybody can enjoy these kinds of songs, as opposed to like, well, I don't really listen to R&B that much, but I do like that one song because it reminds me of, the stuff I listen to, and I really like how he did it.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite thing to do, so just blend and bridge things together as much as I can. But I wouldn't be surprised if I like tried it.
Yeah.
But not really something I'd be like, I'm gonna just...
Yeah, you're not gonna switch everything up. Like, you gotta stay true to your identity. I get you, yeah.
But I appreciate country for what it is, and for how they keep it together.
Yeah. Yeah, just what we were talking about with Memphis and shit, Man, I knew when you got here, I was like, I wanted to ask you about Zola Rose again. Cause I always... No, I'm telling you, like...
Yeah.
If I'm, like, because it's on most of my playlists, like, I'll listen to it, and I'll be like...
Yep.
Damn, now I still tell, like, I told my friend maybe about it a couple months ago. I was like, yo, like, you gotta hear this part of the song. Like, it's always fun to listen to. Like,
yeah, man.
Just that last minute of the song.
Yeah.
But, just for the viewers, like, maybe tell the story first. And then I have a question, because I listened to that song so much that I noticed the slightest differences when you came out with, or when you redid the album. So... Tell the story first.
Yeah.
And
it all started in 2017, man, where I was young, I was 23, I was reckless, and just, enjoying freedom, I guess, for the first time. No more school.
Yeah.
I was pursuing music, and it was working, and I'm in these places and stuff like that. I'm being a young adult.
Yeah. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, I'm being a young adult, and just got carried away, and essentially had a pregnancy scare, right?
Right.
And so, but when I was told, she was already like 5 months along, so I'm like, shoot. So that means I only got
4
months to prepare myself, like, to be a dad. What? Oh shoot! My parents are going to kill me. They're going to kill me. My niece was born when I was 10. My sister was 17.
Yeah.
So we've already been through this.
Oh, what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I was a little older, like, 23, but it's still like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, not the time.
Not the time.
Not the time.
Because, like, what? Everybody thinks they're invincible until they're not. They get a real gut check.
Yeah.
And that's what that was for me. So, told my parents, and I got the silent treatment for a minute.
Right.
But then everybody realized, we don't have that much time, so we gotta, like, figure this thing out.
Yeah, we gotta lock it in.
So fast forward to the day she's born, get to the hospital, and, like, it's like 6, 7 in the morning, and I'm like, now mind you, I had already been kind of briefed.
Yeah.
That, like, there is a chance this ain't your kid. It was about, like, her mother.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't. I know my daughter. She's like, I know my daughter, and I just don't feel. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So we get to the hospital, and sure enough, like, I walk in, and her mom's standing there, and my mom's like, yeah, we should go talk outside. And I'm like, yeah, no, this ain't mine.
Yeah.
You can tell, right? Like, and then my parents came, like. And they looked at the child, and it's wild to say that, like, oh, at one glance you could tell. Yeah. But, like, my parents have done this 4 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a Welch has a look, and that child looked like who I thought was the actual father.
Yeah.
Like, there's very similar features off rip. And so we all talked. We did a DNA test. And it came back, like a couple days later, it came back that it wasn't my kid at all.
Yeah.
And so, like...
Sounds like you didn't need the test to really get into it.
Not really, but it's like, you don't want to leave it up. You don't want to leave it up to just, like, hunches and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be, you want to be sure through science and all of that. But it was just a wild time because, like, I'm kicking myself in the ass because, like, bro, how could you slip up like this?
Yeah.
All everybody ever has to do is wear a condom. Like, it's really not that big a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I said, like, everybody just feels somewhat invincible until you get caught.
Yeah, you get that gut check.
You get that real gut check, and it's like, yeah, I really didn't have to be wilding out like that. And like, I'm, pissed at myself because now I'm like, okay, now I gotta get a job. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pursue music the same way. Like,
right.
All of these things are going through my mind. And then on top of that, I'm like, well, I've always wanted to be a dad. Like, I wanted to have kids. So, like,
sounds like acceptance.
Exciting. Yeah, it's acceptance and it's exciting because, like, I get a little me.
Yeah.
Whether it's a boy or a girl, ended up being a daughter, a girl. But, like, I get one of my own to train, to teach, to grow, to raise. Like, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
And like my parents did it 4 times. And I remember asking them once the dust settled, I asked them, like, prior to the birth, like, all types of just parental questions. Me and my sister are having a great talk, like, this is what to look out for, but also, like, it's a beautiful thing, raising a child. She's got 3 now. She's married. She's got 3 kids. And so I'm like, oh, this could be cool. Like, this could be great. Once I figure out, this, because you're never really prepared to be a parent. Right. But, I come from a great family and support system, so I wasn't going to be left by myself to figure it out.
Yeah.
So when the tables turned, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little pissed. Because, like, one, we done went through all this. 2, like, I feel like something just got ripped from me.
Right.
And then also, how, in my head, I'm like, how truthful were you really being towards me?
Right.
With all this information.
Right.
And so I'm, my head is spinning with all of that stuff. And I got real sad because I was very much looking forward to being a parent and figuring that part of life out, and then just taking on that challenge of trying to be the best father I could. Whether that meant, like, pushing my dreams of music aside to just make sure that I had the best available care for this child. Yeah. And then it was just gone. Right. And so I kind of just didn't know what to do with myself. So I made a song.
Yeah. So when did it click for you after the fact that you're like, oh shit, this got to be a song. Like, this got to be a project.
I think when I was working on the album as a whole, like, it just made sense because the project was just centered around that year of 2017 with just, like, where I was in life, pretty depressed, like, abusing the crap out of alcohol and some drugs and, like, suicide and everything. It was a weird, dark time that the only way I felt like I could get it off my chest or release it was to, like, craft a project around it, and write it out and write it down, and hopefully somebody can take this and, like, not even just learn something, but can take something home with them and use that for their own, like, help, right? And because it's easier to deal with something when you're not alone in it. Yeah. And, like, this was my way of just, like, hey, if my story can help anybody feel less alone, then here, I'll put myself out on Front Street. Yeah. As embarrassing as it was, it's like, nobody ever wants to admit that, like, they are an alcoholic, especially somebody as young as I was at the time. Like, yeah. An alcoholic, a drug addict, almost was a father, right? Young. Doesn't know what he's doing. Like, it's just out here reckless and shit. And, yeah. It's not easy just bearing that for people to hear and consume, because then you also open the door for being ridiculed and laughed at, made fun of, which I was. Yeah. And it's like, shoot, this essentially was like the final piece of it. I'm like, you know what? Nah, throw that in there too, because like this happens to everybody, not everybody, but this happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is a thing, and so I think for people to like hear that it also happened to me too, kind of like perks your ears up a little bit. Like, man, life really do be lifing.
Yeah.
You know, and it does. So I thought it was necessary to add that story to it. In the ways that I did, and it's funny because sometimes I kind of wish I didn't do it, like I didn't write that song, but also like I still get a lot of comments just about it because they're like, did this really happen?
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, it really did, you know, and it happened exactly the way that I said it in the song. Like,
yeah,
bang, 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 word for word, like, you know, period for period. It was a wild time, you know, but I felt necessary to make a song about it. I wasn't trying to make fun of her, you know, like the mother or anything like that.
Just the whole situation.
Just the whole situation, you know. I know I had some like.
It's emotional, man. It's like high emotions, like.
It's nuts because I'm like I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Like, especially after the fact, and it was just like, yeah, you know, you watch Mario a lot, right? Or we've all watched Mario before, and when they're like, yeah, you're not the father, and everybody's like, celebrate. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like a celebration.
Right.
This is weird.
Yeah.
You know. And I didn't see this coming at all. So it's like, I don't know what to do with myself about it. And so it just, and on one way I just like moved on, but I don't know if that's something I ever really like, I don't want to say healed from, but like really got over.
Yeah.
Because like my life changed after that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like really, really changed. But I felt it was just necessary to at least just write it down.
Yeah.
And put it on wax.
It's incredible, man, that you're able to put, like, just that insanely, I don't even want to say negative, but, like, I mean, it ended up progressing into you being where you're at now, like, into a big project that became about the gratitude in the worst moments possible. Like, literally smile, you're alive. Like, doesn't matter what situation you're in, like, you're alive. Yeah. So, I mean,
it's the moments where you're like even now, like, you know, we're going through. I'm going through a lot with like still pursuing music this way, and it's like, you know, these are the moments that really like remind you of how alive you are.
Yeah.
It's not always about how good things are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like without the other side, like you can't appreciate how great things really can be.
Right.
You know, you can't appreciate the good without the bad because you need the opposites to understand each other. And so like that whole project was really just like in your worst moments, like that's how alive you really are.
Yeah.
Cherish that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then like there's always a way to come out on it, you know, on top on the other side. But like that's where you're really most alive is in those moments. And, you know, I'm happy I made that project.
Yeah, I'm happy you made it too, dog.
Yeah.
I'm happy you made it too.
Yeah.
You know, just thinking of things to wrap up, you know, I feel like these are always staple questions I always, you know, make sure you got to ask. Like, if you could really think of maybe your modern influencers, I mean, just who, you know, I mean, clearly you're just talking about how you dabble in everything and you see that. But, I mean, if you had maybe a couple, you know, people that I feel like influenced your modern style, like who would you pay a tribute to?
I mean, now I would say like, you know, I'm always influenced by like Thundercat just for him being himself and obviously being an incredible.
I love him too,
player,
man.
like,
Yeah,
he's insane.
Yeah.
And like the way he kind of just puts things together musically is like gross. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know how you think of this stuff.
Yeah.
So he's a big influence. Anderson .Paak is an influence as well because like he's a musician and an artist.
Right.
Very musically inclined. So there's a lot of good like music components to like what he does. You know, there's an artist McGee that I really like. He's incredible. Dijon's another one. But you know, I'll be honest. Lately, I've just been like listening to a lot of like my older influences, like Foo Fighters, one of my favorite bands. I'm not really listening to new music these days is tough. You know,
I'm an old soul too, so
yeah.
I mean, all I listen to is.
And it's like I'm just not hearing it or feeling it from like, anybody. But it's also one of those things too. It's like, you know, if it's already like been done for me, then there's no reason to like swap it out with something new or anything like that. But you know, I've got a wide range. You know, even just going back to like Stevie or Earth, Wind and Fire. Or, like, a lot of the stuff my parents put me on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But all that still shapes, you know, what I do and what I make today.
Yeah. Who do you feel like is someone you work with, dead and alive, not dead or alive, dead and alive?
Dead and alive.
Yeah.
I feel like Jimi Hendrix would be somebody really cool to make music with.
That'd be crazy.
Or Prince.
Prince too, yeah.
Rick James too. That's a funny one, but he's a wild dude. And I think honestly, alive, like I would love to make music with like Childish Gambino.
Yeah,
I think that'd be really fun. He's another artist that like, you know, doesn't hold himself to like a particular genre. Like he really just be making good music.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
definitely.
That's kind of what I do too. Like I just want to make great songs.
Right.
No matter what genre you kind of put it in. But he's somebody I really, really admire and would love to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a staple I'm gonna add after every episode for the pod, but I'm always gonna ask what's in store for the future, man. Like what are we thinking about coming up? You were saying you've been grinding your ass off recently, so
trying.
Yeah.
Working on Love Gun 3 right now, so we'll finish that trilogy. Hopefully, the next couple of months, really by the end of this month. We're pretty close. You know, hopefully get on the road, and I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm trying not to like look too far ahead. And just really be present with what I have. You know, and hopefully like venture into something else.
Yeah.
I don't know what that might be, but like
outside of music or outside? Yeah.
Outside of music.
Yeah.
But also like within music too. Like I want to produce for more artists. I want to help like bring things together for other artists and stuff. But I just want to like first I want to finish this project, but also like I'm starting to like look at what else I could really get myself into, and see where that goes too. But there's a lot of good stuff coming up, so I'm really excited about that. And then who knows, man? The future is a dangerous place, but it's fun.
That's a fucked up quote. I love that.
You know, it's a dangerous place. For good and for bad. So I'm curious to see where things go.
Yeah, awesome, man. This has been great, dude.
No,
I can't thank you enough for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Anytime.
So well, I thank you. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys catch us on the next episode. Peace.